With so many new serialized products being brought to market by Wizards of the Coast, the future collectability and value of these products will be brought into question. On today's video, we'll take a financial outlook of these cards and what the future may hold for your serialized collection. I think the real question that we have to ask ourselves in today's video is collectability of a serialized card, but also the playability of the serialized card that people are after. Does this card actually desired by the masses, or is it just a random serialized card? Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. If you enjoyed today's content, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps me get closer to the big goal of 20,000 subs. So thanks again, everyone, for helping make that happen. Now, for serialized cards, they are still a fairly new and recent phenomenon in Magic the Gathering. They've been around other sports type things for quite a long time now. There's very early ones, and I've checked. They still sell and they still hold value, so that bodes well for serialized cards for Magic. But unlike those cards in the sports world that sit on a shelf, Magic cards are played with. They are sought after and collected for their playability, rarity, as well as sometimes the artwork. There's a lot of factors that go in that aren't always there in the sports card world. If you have a guy playing hockey and he's like this, that's the only thing you've got of him, right? Interesting stuff. Now, in the background here, you see the one of one, the One Ring. Marketing gimmick if I ever saw one, but it's brilliant, very smart. I actually like that kind of gimmick, okay? I do. It's the idea of just finding something like that. I can't help but get a little excited, but when we look at serialized cards, and you look at Wizards of the Coast as a company, and we do know the company, we know what this company is capable of. We know how hard Hasbro is pushing the company to generate revenue. Poor Aftermath. That set's gonna bomb. Not to mention Commander Masters, keep an eye on it. I'll have some upcoming videos for that. But I'm looking at this card and I say, who's after it? Who's buying it? Why are they buying it? When you look at all kinds of Reddit boards and screens and take, conversations with your friends, there's a myriad of reasons why people might want them. Some, just like the idea of having a serialized card. I've got one of 500. There's only 500 in the world and I've got one of them. Or 600 or 100 or one of one, wherever it may be. It's the idea that you get to flex. You get to show off that you have something that rare. Now, this recently just happened, okay? I know it's kind of weird to see this kind of stuff, but let me show this to you. This is Ragavan. This is one of one, okay? One of one. This is one of 500. I'm thinking about Lord of the Rings again. But it was the first one, and this thing sold for $6,500. So Ragavan is a highly sought after and playable card. This is the first time he has been serialized, and it sold for $6,500 US. $6,500 US. Do players think it's worth that much money? Is it worth more than Power 9 cards? Or is that FOMO gripping somebody who first sees the card? That's the interesting kind of dilemma you're put into, because this card may never get printed again, right? It may just sit there as a one of the 500, and you will have that prestige forever. It may only be available in that card frame forever, but Wizards hasn't told us either way if they'll ever reprint it or if they'll ever bring a second series of serialized cards that are seriesed. You don't know, but we know the company's done that stuff in the past, so be a little bit leery, I would think, but at the same time, that's a card to flex over. That is a very proud moment for a collector to own that and bring it into the fold and say, this is mine now, I own it. So then I started thinking, well, what's happening with serialized cards? How well are they selling? I checked numerous card stores, and highly sought after cards that are serialized are selling really well. Some of the new ones, the Yarick, the Desecrated one, the ones that just came up, those are going for like $750. Mox Ambers that are serialized from Brothers War selling for like $2,000 or as low as $1,400 depending on the number you have. Now when we take a look at some of the other sales, I checked just eBay for these guys. You can see just some brief sales listings, 305, 170. Some of these cards would not even hold water. They'd be like $10 cards. But because they're serialized, players are seeking these cards out. And you can check for yourself. These are just photos taken off of eBay, but you can see lots of sales, okay? There's one of the Yarks right there, not the one that I saw. It went for $750, but it just shows players are, and they're going to continue to spend money. They're willing to spend it, and they're going to continue spending money on cards like this. So if they're going to continue spending money, then it stands to reason, though. This is where we can break the conversation off now and say, if we know the players are buying it and buying it in droves, obviously these sales are across the board, multiple days, but they are selling very well for those who are selling their collection. I can look at that now and say, what would Wizards of the Coast, what would a company like this do when they see success in these cards? Well, of course, it's in their best interests to expand it, to make it more. Now, they have done this with other card sections of their market. We had Expeditions from Battle for Zendikar. They brought the Oath of the Gatewatch. They just kept kind of running it into the ground until the idea died. I'm not sure that they are on the ball enough and focused on player desirability, playability, and collectability to say, hey, we got to just make sure we stick to a certain amount each set. I think they did 70 for March of the Machine. 70 different serialized cards. So what's the next set? 100? Then one. I hope they don't do that. I hope they don't get it out of proportion, because if they can keep this in control, if they can actually branch this into a section of the market in the financial side and say, this is now a subset of profitability we can look forward to, and kind of build in some value into our sets by adding 30, 40 cards that are serialized each set, one of 250, one of 500, whatever it may be. They can pick the number. They can never go over 500, by the way. They should never do that. I know they're doing it for like the Lord of the Rings set. I get why they did it, but I don't think they should. When you keep it to that number, you are going to have more players desiring it. 500 in the world. Now, if they don't spread this out and they go to overkill, the market will collapse. Because if everything's special, nothing's special, and players won't care. It's like every different foil variant they've given us. They're pretty, they're awesome. There is no differential in the value, though. Players don't care. I've seen players just look for the cheapest copy they can get their hands on. That's what they care about. Can I afford it? Can I get it? Yes, some players like to bling their stuff out, which means you should probably stick those particular products only in your collector boxes, and you've got to make them rare as well. Don't just do random foilings. Wizards got to get a grip on this stuff. They could have so many areas of expertise and value, but they don't do it that way. They just overkill everything, and they're their own worst enemy in so many areas of their own game. They just don't get how players feel about things. And when you get an idea like they think we know how we feel, and they're like, hey, and we're like, hey, they kind of got us now. They ruin it. They overkill it. So knowing that Wizards does this doesn't bode well for serialized cards. But at the moment, they are selling. They are desired, and players are wanting them. To add to collections, to add for the flex, to say, I have it, I'm proud of it. What will happen next? What's the next card? Maybe they'll give my favorite card I've always been hoping to get. Maybe they'll do serialized secret layers. Like, they can expand into certain areas and have a lot of fun with it, but chances are they will overkill it. And that's where players get that shaky feeling. That's where players go, I'm going to sell mine right away. I'm going to cash in because I don't believe that Wizards won't wreck this idea. And that's a very sad state of affairs for players to feel that way. But after this 30th anniversary stuff that seems to linger like a slow burning fuse in the minds of players, Wizards gets what they deserve. They got to earn back that trust. They got to put some of this stuff down in writing. They got to say, we are never reprinting Secret Lair art. Secret Lairs will become collectible. We are never reprinting any of these cards you see serialized in the same artwork, in the same... I understand there's a whole hoopla that could go with that. They need to give something in writing to give reassurance to the players in the secondary market, just like they did with the reserve list, to stabilize when they almost crashed the game after Chronicles. This is where the market will be. If they do a good job and become good stewards of that market, it will continue to thrive. It'll continue to have players who want to buy into that market. If they overkill it and overproduce, they are going to kill the golden goose yet again and ruin it for anyone who's been collecting, ruin it for their own cash flow and revenue stream. That's how I see things, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments section here. I'm looking forward to reading everyone's ideas on this stuff because the sales are strong. They are happening, and there's no denying that. It's the idea that can Wizards maintain it to a profitable level. Let me know, guys. I'm looking forward to reading your comments, and thanks again for hanging out with me and allowing me to entertain you today on the channel. I'll see you guys all tomorrow, and don't forget, bring a friend to Magic. Have a great day, everyone. Hi, everyone. MTG Moxman here. This is that moment in time at the end of every day where I take a breath and I remember how fantastic it is to have the support I have on my channel from my patrons, from my YouTube membership members. You guys rock. Just remember, if I happen to crack this one of one ring, and I will try, not Willy Wonka style, but I'll be like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. I'll buy one. If I get lucky and I get that ring, I'm splitting it with all my patrons and YouTube membership members. That's the deal. Not my precious. Not throwing it into Mount Doom. I'm going to sell it to the highest bidder, and I'm sharing the wealth with all my patrons and YouTube membership members. That's what I've stated. Now you got it on record. It's like a verbal contract now. Can't back out. Thanks again, guys. You're awesome for supporting me. I'll see you guys soon. Have an awesome day. And yada yada, nachos and cheese, Necronomicon, and swallow your soul.